Kelly is from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Josh, originally born and raised in Brooklyn, New York, is now from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Over several summers, Josh and Kelly spent time at Pennsylvania State University, working in the Student Central Hub, Robinson Central. This resonating experience at Penn State molded and changed both of their lives. Josh and Kelly shared a common dream: to love and help people in need, and to have a future full of love and potential. In spite of this, they had never met. They finally met at Northway Christian Community Church, the very church some of you are sitting in today, during a regular Saturday night service. Just to say hi to Kelly, Josh would park across from Kelly's father's car every weekend. He saw her attend service with her dad for nearly 8 months until he asked her to dinner. Their first date was on the North Shore at the Bettis Grill. They enjoyed going to the dog park at North Park, visiting Josh's family in Philadelphia, and going to baseball games. They finally had the relationship of their dreams. Then Kelly was offered a job at Scripps Research Institute in Jupiter, Florida, over 1,000 miles away. They decided to make this move together. This was an opportunity for a new start and a chance to accomplish one of their common dreams, to live in Florida. Before the move, Josh took Kelly to Penn State to hike Mount Nittany, a college tradition that neither Josh nor Kelly had ever done before. At the very top of the mountain, Josh proposed. With their family by their sides or just FaceTime away, in January of 2015, Josh and Kelly were married in Orlando, Florida, by their home pastor, Pastor Callahan from City Reach Network Church. February came, and much to Kelly's surprise, Josh whisked her away to her favorite place, Captiva Island on the Florida Gulf Coast, for a honeymoon weekend. Soon after their move to Florida, they learned that they were expecting. Kelly's pregnancy was difficult from the beginning, with a lack of appetite and lost weight. When it was time for the anatomy exam, they learned they were having a baby boy. What they didn't expect was the very concerning news about his unusually small size and low weight. He fell into the 1% of expected size and had enlarged ventricles in the brain, causing doctors to assume that he had Down syndrome. The unusually small size of baby Joshua and a short umbilical cord noticed in the ultrasound were a sign for concern and a possibility the pregnancy might not survive. The doctors advised Josh and Kelly if the pregnancy did not miscarry, their baby boy should be aborted. This concern and the pressure from the medical field continued for the following 8 weeks until March 24th, when Kelly needed to be admitted to the hospital for an emergency cesarean section. She hadn't been feeling well, and with the inability to sleep over the past week, and went for a checkup and a stress test on the baby. This is when they saw baby Joshua was having complications in utero. At St. Mary's Hospital, Kelly learned she was suffering from a rare pregnancy disorder called HELLP syndrome, where major organs like the liver shut down and blood and platelet cells nearly disappear. It is a quickly developing life-threatening complication with a very high mortality rate for both the mother and the child. If Kelly would have not been admitted to the hospital at that very moment, it's likely neither would have survived the following 24 hours. The mortality rate for mothers is as high as 25%, while the mortality rate for a baby born as early as 30 weeks from HELLP can face a mortality rate as high as 60%. HELLP syndrome impacts only 0.2% of pregnancies every year. After 3 blood transfusions, the doctors were able to deliver and resuscitate Joshua Ezekiel Guzman Jr., who was stillborn, extremely premature, and miraculously revived after all attempts by the doctor had ceased. He weighed 1 pound 11 ounces, just over 12 inches long, and while extremely discolored from oxygen deprivation and jaundice, he was incredibly active, which was a great sign. He was born at 28 weeks gestation and suffering from extreme intrauterine growth restriction due to HELLP syndrome. By now, they also learned the experienced uterine abnormality and was 3 weeks behind in development, meaning he was born at just 25 weeks. Kelly learned that her uterine abnormality wouldn't normally allow women to conceive children, let alone to carry a baby to the point of delivering with a chance at life. They were told that with the combination of this unseen complication would make the chances of Joshua's survival extremely slim. With underdeveloped lungs, he was placed on complete ventilator breathing assistance in a temperature-controlled and humidified incubator with very little contact. They spent the next 7 days in the St. Mary's Neonatal Intensive Care Unit, or NICU, until the hospital made the decision to transfer him to Miami Children's Hospital to be under the care of a pediatric neurosurgeon. Baby Joshua suffered from a grade 3 brain bleed, which caused concern for intervention. After being transferred to Miami, he overcame every obstacle. Hundreds of people around the world were praying for his survival and complete healing. Miami Children's Hospital was at least a 2 to 3 hour drive from Jupiter, Florida, where they lived. Josh and Kelly were able to visit Joshua every weekend for the following 6 months with the generous donations from family, friends, and unknown supporters through GoFundMe. But throughout the week, the doctors and nurses and volunteers were Joshua's only company. During the NICU experience, they watched Joshua overcome a successful heart surgery. During this same time, Joshua's birth hospital, St. Mary's, had their heart surgery team shut down to an overwhelming number of infant deaths during heart surgery, as compared to the national average. Joshua was blessed with a great team of doctors that had no complication performing the necessary procedure. They celebrated when Joshua was able to maintain his body temperature, graduating from the enclosed incubator to an open incubator to finally a crib. He graduated off of full ventilation breathing support to regular oxygen through a nasal cannula, which allowed him to come home. 147 days later, and defying every odd, Joshua Ezekiel Guzman was finally able to come home in August of 2015, weighing just over 6 pounds. Since his arrival home, Josh, Kelly, and baby Jay have been able to finally enjoy being a family. He is now beginning to walk, taking several steps at a time, talking up a storm with his favorite parrot, Dada, rolling over, crawling, and extremely curious about his surroundings, just what one would expect from a full-term baby. He miraculously did not need brain surgery and sees specialists monthly to track his growth and development. He has no genetic abnormalities and certainly does not have Down syndrome. He is now off of oxygen and is becoming more and more independent every day. His favorite things include sweet potatoes, apples and chicken, cars, the Weather Channel, and the color red. But most of all, he loves people. He loves smiling, and he has lived the past 7 months at home with an incredible, joyful personality. This is the happiest baby you will ever meet, and it's because he was given a chance at life. This family has endured some of the hardest circumstances, and by God's grace, favor, and provision, they have overcome all of man's odds. Thank you all for your prayers, financial, and emotional support. We are so happy to be able to celebrate this milestone with you all. Please meet our newest addition to the family, Joshua Ezekiel Guzman Jr.